Hey everybody, today we've got 3 new diesels from Menards. We've got Chicago Northwestern, Milwaukee Road, and the Pensy, and we're going to check them out right now on Eric's Trains. Alright, yeah, so as many of you may already know, Menards has 3 new road names for their F7 diesels, Chicago Northwestern, Milwaukee Road, and Pensy. And for each road name, they're doing a powered unit and a non-powered unit, so you can get an AA set. And that's exactly what I did for all 3 road names, so let's get busy with the unboxing. So here are the 3 boxes that arrived from Menards, and inside each box, we've got a powered and non-powered unit for each road name, Milwaukee Road, Pensy, and Chicago Northwestern. I'm not sure which road name is in which box, so we'll just pick one and go from there. So for today's unboxings from my knife collection, we'll be using this guy. This is the Leatherman Free T4 multi-tool in Arctic Blue. Ooh, look at that. So let's see what's inside box number 1. Should be 2 boxes, yep. This top box is a little bit bigger than the bottom box, which means this is probably the powered unit because it contains the remote control. And these are the Pensy diesels. Yep, there's the remote. So there we have it. Remote control, train sounds, working lights, 2 powerful motors. So there's the decorative tag, model number 2759297. Menards Gold Line Collection, Pennsylvania diesel locomotive, O-gauge engine, available only at Menards. And of course, it's made in China, Texas, that is. All right, so here we have the extra traction tires. And now they have directions for replacing them, which is nice. They didn't used to have that. Wow, this looks great, you know, especially for a budget-friendly model, which is what this is. I think it looks just fine. It's got a good weight to it, no doubt because of the die-cast trucks and couplers, die-cast metal pilot, and also the twin motors on the inside. But yeah, I mean, looks nice. So right there, we've got the diesel sound on-off switch. So if you want to go old school and just run this thing with no sounds whatsoever, that'll do it for you. Pretty nice. Single pickup roller per truck. Still got plastic gears, but it's a budget-friendly model, so that's okay. And we've got the remote control. Let's see if I can pry that out. There we go. There we go. It looks like they've upgraded these stickers to something that's a little bit higher quality. You know, it used to just be a flat decal, like you find on any other remote, but this is one of those kind of 3D stickers that kind of sits proud of the surface a bit. It's got a nice texture to it. It's got the correct engine and the correct road number on there, which is really cool. And then, of course, there's Jack the German Shepherd. He is present on pretty much any Menards train item. And, of course, there he is. And there's the tag, model number 2759329, Pennsylvania non-powered diesel locomotive. Again, made in China, Texas. So nice that Menards is making their stuff in Texas these days. Now, you'll notice it says working lights, and yet I called this non-powered. So what does that mean? When I say non-powered, I mean it doesn't have motors on the truck, so it doesn't move under its own power. So it might have working lights if it was a really fancy non-powered unit like the ones you get from Lionel. It might have a sound system and a smoke unit, but no motors driving the wheels. There it is. Looks great. Now, of course, being the non-powered unit, it's much lighter and much more flimsy feeling, for lack of a better term, because there are no motors, there's not a whole lot of electronics except those for the lights, and the trucks, instead of being made of die-cast metal, they're made of plastic, as is the pilot. So a lot more plastic, less metal means lighter weight, but it also means less expensive. And because these are meant to be budget-friendly models, I'm okay with that. All right, and let's see what's behind door number 2, or box number 2, I guess I should say. I have no idea which one this is, but process of elimination, it's either Milwaukee Road or Chicago Northwestern. Oh yeah, there's a piece of rolling stock in here as well. I forgot I ordered this, so this is obviously going to be the Milwaukee Road stuff because I also ordered a Milwaukee Road boxcar because I wanted to check that out. So we've got the boxcar, and then we've got, yep, the Milwaukee Road non-powered and the Milwaukee Road powered. Well, let's take a little break here. We'll check out the boxcar. It's not really part of this video per se, but we'll check it out anyway. Milwaukee Road boxcar, pretty basic. Yeah, when I ordered the Milwaukee Road diesels, I saw this as a recommended item, and I said, yeah, you know, I'll check it out. There's something about the Milwaukee Road paint scheme that I've always liked. Looks cool. Again, you know, perfect? No, but looks great. I'm sure there's some flaws in the paint here and there, but just on a cursory examination, it's just fine. And for the price, you just can't beat it. Model number 2759294, Milwaukee Road diesel locomotive. Nice weight. Oh, there's our remote. That looks great. Same deal as the Pensy. Since it's the powered unit, you've got dual motors and then die-cast metal trucks, pilots, couplers, and that all gives it a very nice weight. Milwaukee Road non-powered diesel locomotive, model number 2759327. And there is the non-powered version. Awesome. And here's box number 3, which the process of elimination tells us has to be the Chicago Northwestern version. By the way, there's a giant pile of styrofoam and empty boxes to the left of me. I got a mess to clean up in a little bit. All right, so here's the powered unit. Model number 2759291, Chicago and Northwestern diesel locomotive. Check that out. That looks fantastic. I like it. Very nice. There's the remote, correct road number, and jack. Model number 2759324, Chicago and Northwestern non-powered diesel locomotive. And there we go. All right, and here we have all 3 sets on the layout. I think these things look great. I mean, they have fun and attractive paint schemes, nice digital sounds, as you'll hear in just a moment. I mean, what's not to like? However, it is important to remember that these are extremely budget-friendly models, and so it'd be unreasonable to expect these things to be super high quality, like something you might get from Lionel or MTH or Atlas or somebody. I mean, these are designed to be affordable. Really, in my opinion, when it comes to Menards, I think they have 2 goals, fun and affordability. And I think we can all agree that they hit it out of the park on both counts. You know, other companies, Lionel, Atlas, MTH, they're trying to make their stuff as affordable as they can, but they still want to give you a high quality product that's going to last a long time. But that's not the case here with Menards. They want to make it affordable. And as I've said many times before, Menards, in my opinion, is the king of ultra affordable O-gauge trains. So let's talk about the price. The price on each of these powered units is right at $150. The price on each of the non-powered units is right at $80. And that's before any rebates. Menards often offers rebates on their stuff, and you can get the price even lower. But as it is, $230 for an O-gauge AA set with sounds and directional lighting and a remote control. I mean, you can't beat that anywhere. But that affordability does come at the expense of quality on these models. I mean, they look great from a distance, but as I've said before, once you get in close, you'll notice some of the ways they've cut cost and made these things so affordable. So, for example, with the paint job, it looks great from a distance, but once you get in there, you'll notice a lot of overspray, blemishes, scratches. The stripes on the pincer unit aren't exactly straight all the way along. As I already said, on the underside, you'll notice nylon drive gears rather than metal drive gears like you'll find on some of the more expensive stuff. And then on the non-powered unit, a lot of the metal has been replaced by plastic. So there's definitely some cost cutting involved to get these things as affordable as they are. But that's okay, because Menards has taken on a role in this hobby that is so desperately needed, and that is the role of providing an affordable entry point into this hobby. You know, so if someone is just getting into the hobby, or they're in the hobby but they don't have a big budget, they might not be able to afford an $1,100 top shelf Lionel F3AA set, but they might be able to afford $230 for a Menards AA set. And that is a wonderful thing, giving people that affordable entry point into the hobby. It was missing for a long time, but Menards stepped in and they've hit it out of the park. The last 5-10 years or so that Menards has been doing this, they've given everyone that affordable entry point, and like I said, it's amazing. And you know, the funny thing is that I've often received comments from people saying, well, I wish Menards would upgrade this on their locomotives, you know, use metal gears instead of nylon gears, or use more die-cast metal instead of plastic. But the thing is, if they did that, it would take away the very thing that makes these models so special, which is their affordability. If they started using more metal and more high quality materials and doing a better job with the paint, that would cause the price to creep up. And so rather than it being $230 for an AA set, all of a sudden you're talking $300, $400, $500. So me personally, I don't want Menards to change a thing. I want them to keep these things as affordable as they are. Even if it means it comes at the expense of quality and longevity, that's okay, because like I said, this hobby so desperately needs an affordable entry point. You don't get that so much with Lionel and MTH and Atlas, but you do get it with Menards. Okay, now I want to get some stats and facts on these things, and I also want to compare them to the previous release that Menards did to see if anything's changed, especially on the inside. But let's start off by measuring the length of one of these, and it comes in just a tad over 13 inches, maybe 13.25 inches. Now for comparison, here is a Lionel F unit. And if I measure this, it comes in right about, almost 12.5 inches. So the Menards F units are actually longer than a scale Lionel F unit, which is pretty cool. So I would call these things pretty close to scale, if not scale. Now, of course, the bad thing is that we've got this massive gap between the A units. It looks like it's, 2 inches, which is a scale 8 feet. So yeah, big gap, but you know, it's ultra affordable O gauge. That's okay. Okay, now let's see what one of these things weighs. The powered unit comes in at just a tad over 3 pounds, 6 ounces. Not bad. And just out of curiosity, let's compare it to the previous release. This is their UPF unit that they released last year. Hey, wow, it's exactly the same. That's pretty cool. Now, the non-powered unit, this thing's going to be a lot lighter. That comes in right at 1 pound, 7.5 ounces. And again, the older release non-powered. Let's see if that's the same. Yeah, exactly the same. Now, the last time I reviewed one of these Menards F units, I don't think I tested the pulling power because I was pretty sure it wasn't going to be very much. And that's true. I tested the pulling power on this one and it came in right at 15 ounces, which is a little subpar compared to more expensive F units. A Lionel F unit, for example, would probably come in around 2 pounds. So yeah, this is not a big puller. Don't expect to pull 30 cars behind this thing. But again, that's okay because it's ultra affordable and that's the main goal. And the last thing I want to do with this is open it up and compare what's on the inside to the previous release. Now, the weights were pretty much exactly the same, so I expect there won't be any major changes, but I'm kind of curious. So just a quick tour for those of you who have never seen the inside of one of these things. Here we've got the 2 crew figures that are in the cab. And then we've got our 2 motors. These are not flywheel motors, so the starts and stops on these things are going to be a little more abrupt than a more expensive O-scale engine where you have flywheel motors. And then we've got the main control board. Look at these 2 capacitors. They're giant. And I'm actually not surprised these capacitors are so big because I've noticed that when I cut track power, this thing will stay running for a good 20 or 30 seconds. So yeah, that's because of these giant capacitors. And then of course, even though the sound system is integrated into this main board, the speaker is down here in the fuel tank. Okay, now we'll open up the previous UP release. Yeah, so here's the UP and here's the Chicago Northwestern, and they are pretty much identical on the inside, which means that Menards has probably settled on this as the final design. Some of you may remember that on the very early versions of these models that Menards made, the insides looked a little different. They were kind of half-assing it. This is looking like a much more polished and finished product, which is good. All right, so the last thing we're gonna do before we start these things up is... All right, so BFIMO, best feature in my opinion, you know, other than the super affordable price that Menards has these things at, my favorite feature on these is the road number specific dialogue. Yes, each of these has road number specific dialogue, not road name, but road number, which is super cool. And with Lionel, it's not something you see until you get to the really expensive Vision line models. But here, Menards has it on a super budget-friendly locomotive. How cool is that? All right, I was about to start these up, but I wanted to show you one more thing that came up. It's been a couple weeks since I took these out of the box and got this review all finished. And in that time on the remotes, those sort of 3D stickers that I was telling you about that are on the remote, well, the front stickers are peeling up. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but they are peeling up. And so I'm gonna have to take some CA glue or something and secure these down. And it's not just that remote, it's all of them. So here's the Milwaukee Road and it's peeling up on there. And here's the Pennsy remote and that's also peeling up a little bit. So yeah, Menards, you might want to fix that. Maybe just go back to the old stickers. This is one of the older remotes that had just the flat sticker and that does just fine. And so yeah, Menards, if you're watching this, probably just go back to these stickers because these fancier stickers seem to be a little prone to peeling up, which is not a good thing. It's not a major deal breaker or anything, but you know, I'm just gonna have to get some CA glue or adhesive or something and make sure they stay down. But yeah, I did want to bring that up. All right, so I've got power on the track and I want to demo each of these locomotives because as I said, they do have road number specific dialogue, which is really cool. But one of the other cool things I really like about these Menards locomotives is that on the remote, there's a volume knob. And so you can adjust the volume very easily with your thumb, unlike the Lionel Lion Chief remotes where there is no volume knob, and to adjust the volume you have to do some jujitsu with the throttle and the buttons down here. But Menards makes it very easy with that volume knob there, and it also means that I can have all three on the track at once with power, but you're not hearing anything, and I can isolate the locomotive that I want to demo. So with that in mind, let's turn up the Chicago Northwestern. All right, so here's the horn. It's a pretty basic horn, not the most fancy thing ever, but it's okay. And here's the bell. It's kind of an abrupt cutoff, but you know, whatever. And here's that road number specific dialogue.
Dispatch, train 9291 North is awaiting clearance. 9291 North, confirmed you're a go. Track's clear, proceed at will. Confirming signal is green. We're rolling and clearing the yard throat now. Next stop, Eau Claire.
By the way, Eau Claire is where Menards is headquartered.
Confirm green signal. The train is all on the main line track. Confirm yard clearance, and you have the main through mile marker 116. Roger that, dispatch. 9291 North, out. We still have a slow order at mile 73 for track maintenance. They're taking forever to extend that siding. Last time we stopped there, we barely had bike for all the cars.
I mean, I'm not counting, but this is quite a few crew talk sequences, and I don't think we're even done yet.
Detector 21B, train 9291 North. No detected overheat. Dispatch, 9291 North, no overheats at 21B. Copy 9291 North. Looks like that truck driver's trying to beat the train. Better give him a long horn blast. Man, that was close. I didn't think he was going to stop in time. Is that Fred on the opposite main? Looks like some of the plywood on that lead flat are working themselves loose. 9291 North to 3945 South. 9291 north. We're keeping an eye on it. I think we can make it to the yard before the wood starts to fly. Thanks for the heads up.
This is incredible.
9291 north. Amtrak 1652 is running late, so you may have to hold at Menardsville Junction.
Menardsville Junction.
Dispatch, 9291 north confirms the yellow signal and anticipate the delay. 1652 is usually ahead of schedule. The signal turned red. We might be here a while. 9291 north, confirm red signal, and we have stopped at Menardsville.
I mean, this is absolutely incredible. Not only is it road number specific dialogue, but there's way more sequences than you even get with Lionel or MTH.
Stand by for the green. You might get some overtime for this run. Brake test looks good. Looks like a light load. A lot of empty cars going home. We're ready.
Okay, we finally got all the way around. I don't know how many that was. I'll put it up on the screen, but wow, that is incredible. I mean, these may be budget-friendly models, but in terms of the crew talk sequences, I give it an A+. Okay, now I'll turn down C&W, and we'll turn up Milwaukee Road. Now, I'm wondering if it has the same sequences, just with the road number swapped out. Let's find out.
Brake test looks good. Looks like a light load. A lot of empty cars going home. We're ready. Dispatch, train 9294 north is awaiting clearance.
Yeah, it looks like it's the same sequence as the C&W, just with a different road number. Let's turn down the Milwaukee Road and turn up the Pennsy.
Dispatch, train 9297 north is awaiting clearance.
Yeah, you've got the same crew talk sequences for each engine, but there's a ton of them. And again, road number specific dialogue. I mean, yeah, this is incredible. Budget-friendly model, but superior crew talk sounds. All right, now comes the fun part. We're going to start these things up and take them for a spin around the layout. So we've got 3 trains. Behind the C&W units, I've got my Menards LED hoppers that look really cool. Now, it should be noted that I have 10 of those Menards LED hoppers. They're a little bit heavier than the average Menards freight car. And it turned out that the C&W could not pull all 10 of those. It just doesn't have enough pulling power. So I had to scale it back to 6 of those hoppers. And that should give you a clue of the pulling power of these things. I mean, they can't pull a whole lot. You can probably expect to pull maybe somewhere between 6 and 12 cars, depending on the size and weight of the cars. And of course, that number might vary even more. It just depends on what you're pulling. Now, behind the Milwaukee Road units, I've got a selection of all Menards freight cars, including a Menards caboose. And then behind the Pennsy units, I've got some MTH Pennsy passenger cars because as of yet, Menards does not make passenger cars. However, I expect that's going to change at some point in the future. I think they're going to put out their own passenger cars at some point. All right, folks, so there you go. Yeah, I think these things are as good as ever, and I'm even more excited about what road names they'll do in the future. Again, the powered units are right at $150, and the non-powered units are right at $80, and that's before any rebates or anything. If you use the rebates, you can get it for even less. So as I've always said, Menards is the king of ultra affordable O-gauge trains, and they just keep putting out hits. So that's going to do it for this review. If you want to support this channel, that'd be great. That can be done through Patreon at patreon.com/Eric's Trains. But for now, that's it. I'm Eric Siegel. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, and I'll see you next time. To discuss this model and any other O-gauge trains, check out the O-Gauge Railroading online forum at ogrforum.ogaugerr.com.